I confess that I was somewhat absorbed in the 2002 election news frenzy now. Here it is, November 7. It's finally over, and I'm left with kind of a mixed plate of emotions. Um, I do feel some relief, but I don't mean to imply at the outcome because that's just further polarization. It's sort of a relief that it's over, but yes, I'd feel some concerns, kind of a mixture of happy and sad. This is the norm for, most people. Um, the question I would like to explore is how does our meditation practice impact us in the wake of this election? In other words, what can we get from the fact that we meditate or we're learning meditation? What does it have to do with all of this, or if anything? I think we all struggle with difficult emotions. I hear a lot of Dharma students say things like, I just get so angry when I hear him speak, speaking of political figures, or I just can't send love and compassion to these people. And that's fairly normal. I mean, I don't think there's anything unusual about that. Um, oops, sorry. There's a kind of a spiritual conundrum that we get here, and that's that we feel we don't want to give in to feelings of being outraged, but we also want to keep our passion for helping others and doing what's right. So, it's like, how do we do that? I mean, it's just a normal situation. We can't live in a world where we just feel metta, which is in the Buddhist terminology is one of the most important things we do. Is we try to develop loving kindness, and we just can't live in a world where we only selectively send loving kindness or feel that towards blue states or red states. Maybe blue and red are just states of mind. Reconciliation, I think, is what we're talking about here, and one meaning, I think, is to restore the sacred. Here's a picture of a heiau here. And I think the process starts with acknowledging that in this moment, because the meditation practice focuses us on moment, the real present moment, what's happening in the moment, rather than having it be, spread out over, the illusion of time, of the past, or or the present, or the future. It starts with acknowledging that in this moment there are painful polarities that we're feeling. I think if we're honest. And the practice of meditation is so incredibly simple. It's truly simple. And it's allowing your heart to become closed to the red or the blue. Acknowledge that sometimes we do feel closed. And we seek a way to include the other in your heart just as they are, not the way you think they should be. One of the things that I think we acknowledge in this whole process is at some level we resonate with the understanding or the intuitive glimpse that when we're closed down, it comes at a tremendous cost to our well-being when we shut our heart to others. In a way, this closing down towards these selective others prevents us from feeling our own emotions on a deeper level. So the practice of meditation, I think, doesn't matter, if we have a goal or we say, I'm going to sit here with these feelings of the election. That's not what we're doing. We're just sitting with the present moment. And in the present moment, there's a simple softening of the heart. It's a natural opening that just happens. It's an organic happening all by itself without our having to do anything other than to just let our hearts be. When we do this, and when we just simply return to the present moment and do our practice genuinely from our heart, you get a sense that you don't feel separate from parts of your own experience. You see how the divisiveness in the electorate is maybe a divisiveness in the heart. And when you see that, or if it rings true to you, you have more access to your deepest levels of your own inherent wisdom, what Buddhism teaches, your Buddha nature. You have deeper layers of inherent wisdom and to your deepest core values. And if you do that, your actions then tend to be more skillful. They mean more. And I kind of felt that in Romney's concession speech. I felt he was being very genuine, and it came from a very deep place. Um, the division, I think, is really in one's heart. The goal of this practice, and it's not any special practice. It's just our regular, simple meditation practice of sitting down, being aware of the breath, being aware of sensations, is no matter how painful or divisive feelings appear to be, that the division is in one's heart, nowhere else. It's just to be willing, and this is a very radical notion, I know, but it's to be willing to feel connected to the sacred oneness of the moment and find harmony there in the oneness of the moment. The Dalai Lama has this wonderful uh, line that when people have asked him about the Chinese, who came in and slaughtered millions and millions of Tibetans and burned thousands of sacred texts that are now lost to the world. He says, "Oh yes, my friends, the enemy." This doesn't mean that you approve of what you feel. Uh, that you don't approve of the hurtful feelings. You don't approve them. And you don't give up on your passion to do what's right. It's not really about the issues, the cognitive or conceptual issues, because when you get down to the simplicity of the meditation practice, it's about the heart, it's about feeling, it's about emotion. And when emotion gets freed from the conceptual push and pull of liking, disliking, and our the whole notion of how deeply ingrained and sort of brainwashed we tend to easily become by the media. It just means that you do what's right in your heart while treating the other as sacred. Now, these is really, really, really seemingly idealistic, but I think when it gets down to the brass tacks, it's not really that hard at all. It becomes more, intuitively graspable than just merely idealistic. Now, what the Buddha taught was really interesting here, and he saw the incredible hurt that was caused in his day, as much as it's being done today, when people cling to their views. So his teaching was really quite radical: is not to cling to points of view, even to non-clinging. Not to cling to non-clinging. The Buddha taught over and over not to cling to our views, and that hatred never conquers hatred. And I know personally that I feel a lot better when I try to practice this way. So it's a challenge. Yeah, it's a real challenge, and I think that there's an enormous healing potential that comes from the simple act of spending 10 minutes on your cushion, simply being with your breath, simply being with your thoughts. Allow them to rise and pass, and allowing us to touch this sacred space, and allowing us to really feel healed by that. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great day, and take care. Aloha.